frontline workers at the Ottawa hospital getting a chance to breathe and recharge.
Without knowing for how long, bracing for a potential fourth wave even as they recover from the emotional toll of the third wave. It hit particularly hard in the ICU, filled to capacity this spring as very sick and dying patients were moved here from overloaded hospitals in Toronto. In tonight's Frontline Diaries segment, we connect with registered nurse Elizabeth Krause. Elizabeth, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So you're starting now to get a chance to relax, take a breath, look back just a little bit now that some of this is behind us. Tell me about how that third wave of the pandemic was. How tough was that for all of you in the ICU at the General?
It was like nothing we've ever seen before. I've been there for 6 years, but many of my colleagues who have been there for 20, 25 years plus have said that it was the most trying time in their entire careers. And I have to say it was the same for myself as well.
I mean, because for the first time you were seeing some capacity numbers that you hadn't seen before, and as well, you're a year into the pandemic at that point. Did you kind of feel like you were running out of steam?
Yeah, so in the best of times, ICU nurses have a lot of compassion fatigue and burnout. We were seeing, ICU transfers from Toronto almost every day, even some from Manitoba, and even more scary, we were seeing patients in our rooms getting doubled up. So instead of having one room to take care of one patient with lots of space, we were putting 2 beds, 2 monitors, 2 ventilators, and then there was one nurse taking care of those 2 patients instead of the typical 1-to-1 when they're that sick. So that was new for us, and that was a really difficult adaptation to overcome.
As you're talking to me and the viewers, we're all trying to wrap our minds around that, but no one really understands, I guess, unless they're in there and going through it. Did you find you were leaning on your colleagues a lot through that period?
That's an understatement. We relied on each other so much, and the incredible team I work with here was the only reason we were really able to survive.
What was the toughest moment in the middle of it all for you? Is there one moment that stands out at all?
It was the moments when we had patients who were obviously dying and passing away, and their families were elsewhere. Their families were in Toronto for the most part. So there is that dance of trying to get them back in time to say goodbye. And we typically do death very well in the ICU, in that we have everyone in, we have lots of support. We bring in their families' blankets and their favorite music, and we just weren't able to do that in the same way during wave 3 because of all the isolation, and a lot of family members had COVID themselves. So in many instances, their family members saying goodbye to their loved ones over an iPad while the only person there was someone on the front line, and all you can do really is hold their hand and try to be there as you facilitate those last words going past.
Powerful stuff. We all appreciate that you were able to be there for those people in their moment of need. I want to turn the corner a little bit now. If you can tell me about Operation Remote Immunity. You had a chance to travel north and actually help get people vaccinated there?
We as a team flew in to 32 remote Indigenous communities and provided vaccinations for COVID-19. So it was a really beautiful time to be able to step back and focus on the preventative side as opposed to seeing people at the end of battling this awful virus. So it brought a lot of hope, and it was just a really happy, wonderful time. So I'm very thankful I got to be a part of it.
And through it all, you had someone else by your side, your fiance, I understand, kind of helped you navigate the good and the bad through the pandemic?
Yeah, he's been a wonderful rock for me. Well, yeah, we get married in October, so that will be a really wonderful time to get an intimate celebration and, for one night forget and focus on the future and on our happiness. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Congratulations. We wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
A scaled-down backyard celebration coming up for them, and obviously very deserving of every happiness.
Of course, just being right there too, but certainly wishing them the absolute best.